Stop what you're doing because the internet just exploded, and no, this ain't your average celebrity cheating scandal or shady tweet. This is full-blown, front-row seat to the apocalypse-level drama. Jim Jones, rapper, reality star, former golden boy just got physically booted out of his own house by none other than his own son. Why? Oh, just a casual slap heard round the world. Straight to Chrissy Lampkin's face. Yeah, that Chrissy is ride-or-die 20-year partner. The woman who proposed to him when he couldn't even be bothered to buy a ring, just got smacked, allegedly, and Jim's son said, "Not today, Satan." But wait, did you really think that was the end of it? This wasn't just an argument gone wrong. No, this was a family civil war caught in the crosshairs of betrayal, violence, and the kind of karma you only see in Shakespearean tragedies. Or love and hip-hop. What really happened behind those walls? Was this years in the making? Are we witnessing the final downfall of a man who once claimed to be a king but couldn't even keep his own throne at home? Oh, buckle up. You're not ready for what's coming next. Asterisk, it all started on what should have been a calm night. No cameras rolling, no press lurking, just Jim Jones and Chrissy under the same roof like they have been for the past 20 years. But what went down behind those walls was far from peaceful. See, while the world thought their relationship was just another dramatic love story fit for reality TV, the truth was darker, messier, and a whole lot louder. That night, the tension reached a boiling point. Chrissy, exhausted from 2 decades of loyalty with nothing but broken promises and canceled wedding bells to show for it, had finally had enough. And Jim, instead of responding like a grown man, he chose violence. Witnesses claimed the argument could be heard from outside the house, accusations flying, furniture creaking, voices raised to a fever pitch. Then it happened. One slap. One single, unforgivable moment. The kind that doesn't just sting, it detonates. Jim Jones, the self-proclaimed Harlem legend, laid hands on Chrissy, not metaphorically, literally. The same woman who fought beside him through bankruptcy, legal trouble, and every social media dragging he's ever had, now found herself on the receiving end of a slap heard round the block. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, there was a witness. Not just any witness. His son, yes, the very son who's kept quiet through every scandal, every headline, every ignored phone call. That night, he had front row seats to his father's biggest downfall. And this time, he wasn't staying silent. The room went dead silent. After the slap, not a word, not a breath. Even the air paused like it couldn't believe what just happened. Jim turned, maybe to walk away, maybe to double down, no one knows. But what everyone does remember is the next moment. His son stepped in, stared him down, and without warning, threw a punch so hard it shook the room. Jim didn't see it coming. His son had years of pain bottled up, watching his mom ride for a man who couldn't even lift a finger to defend her until now, when he used it to strike her. And that punch. That wasn't just revenge, it was justice. What followed was chaos. Furniture knocked over. A vase shattered, Jim stumbling back, disoriented, bleeding from the lip. Chrissy didn't even flinch. She just stood there, arms crossed, watching the destruction unfold like she'd seen it all coming. Neighbors say you could hear the scuffle like crashing, and then finally silence again. And in that silence, Jim's son pointed to the door and said the words that sealed everything. "Get out." That was it? No yelling, no threats. Just calm, deadly finality. And Jim. He obeyed. For the first time in what might be years, he didn't argue, didn't bark back, didn't puff up his chest. He picked up his phone, grabbed a bag, and walked out of his own home like a stranger. Just like that, thrown out by his own blood for laying hands on the only woman who ever stayed by his side when everyone else walked away. And the streets, oh, they were already talking. You think a scandal like that stays inside 4 walls? Not in this era. Within hours, the whispers turned into tweets, the tweets turned into posts, and before sunrise, the whole internet knew. Jim Jones didn't just lose his temper. He lost his home, his family, and whatever respect he had left. And Chrissy. She didn't say a word, didn't go live, didn't call a publicist. She just posted a single story, her wine glass, filled to the brim, with the caption, "Finally," and that was all it took. The internet erupted, screenshots, side-eyes, memes, old love and hip-hop clips resurfacing faster than you can say Dipset. People remembered every time she had his back and every time he left her hanging. The timing, impeccable. The mood, pure revenge energy. But it wasn't the petty tweets that hit the hardest, it was the silence from Jim. No denial, no damage control, no poorly written notes app apology, at least not yet, just radio silence. And in that silence, the world built its own version of events. Anonymous sources started whispering that this wasn't the first time tensions boiled over. Some claimed Chrissy had been plotting to leave for months, that she'd been quietly stacking her coins, waiting for the moment Jim made the final mistake, and others. They said the son had already told his father once before, "If you ever hurt her, it's over." And Jim didn't listen. He thought he was untouchable. That being a legend meant never having to answer for the mess behind closed doors. Well, not anymore. That punch didn't just knock the air out of his lungs, it knocked him straight into the trending topics. And the internet didn't just eat the story up, it feasted on it like it was Thanksgiving dinner served with a side of karmic justice. The memes started flying within minutes. One showed Jim Jones photoshopped, standing outside with his bags in the rain, captioned, "When you get evicted by your own son, and can't even freestyle your way back in." Another had Chrissy with a crown on her head, and the caption, "Queen Energy. Stayed down for a clown. Now she's sipping wine while he's sleeping on a cousin's couch." Twitter, or X, or whatever Elon's calling it now, was on fire. Jim Jones became the human embodiment of fumbled the bag. And people weren't just laughing, they were digging. Old clips resurfaced, receipts were pulled, and suddenly Jim's past behavior wasn't just remembered, it was fresh fury. Fans unearthed a 2013 episode where Chrissy begged Jim to grow up and stop playing games. He brushed her off like she was nagging. One clip showed her crying about how she didn't want to waste her life waiting on a man who refused to commit. The comments section was brutal. "She warned us 10 years ago. She should have left then. This is what happens when you love someone who only loves himself." But it wasn't just strangers talking. Fake insiders, anonymous DMIs, and even a few verified trolls began claiming this wasn't an isolated incident. One alleged source close to Chrissy claimed she'd covered up incidents before: emotional abuse, financial manipulation, controlling behavior. Nothing that could land him in jail, but plenty that made her feel like a prisoner in her own home. Another so-called family friend dropped a voice note saying Jim's temper had always been a ticking time bomb. He's not the cool, calm Harlem cat people think he is. He's got demons. Whether true or not, the internet treated every whisper like gospel. And just like that, Jim went from controversial to cancelled in record time. Brands started distancing themselves before he even had a chance to blink. His once hyped clothing line, Vamp Life, issued a vague but spicy statement: "We are committed to integrity, safety, and respect. Effective immediately, we will be reevaluating all internal partnerships." Translation: Jim, pack your hoodie and go. Then came his cannabis investment. That brand had his name on half their edibles, but not anymore. They scrubbed his image clean like they were removing mold off a loaf of bread. Their statement read: "In light of recent developments, we are making necessary adjustments to protect the integrity of our products." Which basically means, we're not about to lose money over your midlife crisis, sir. Then the real slap came figuratively this time. Jim was quietly dropped from a major hip-hop festival he was scheduled to headline in New York. No press conference, no drama. Just a cold one-liner posted on their website. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Jim Jones will no longer be performing. One fan tweeted, "Unforeseen. I saw this coming, like Chrissy saw that ring, never arriving. Ouch." And while Jim's professional life was burning, his personal one was already ashes. He tried to call Chrissy. She didn't answer. He texted his son, delivered, but never read. He even tried to reach out to one of his old crew members, but that guy posted a story with just a coffin emoji and no caption. Subtle, yet savage. Meanwhile, Chrissy was glowing. Literally, paparazzi caught her stepping out in a sleek black dress. Head held high, nails done, smile untouched by scandal. When asked if she had anything to say about the incident, she simply said, "Timing is everything," and walked off like the baddest woman alive. And the fans, they crowned her a hero. One viral tweet read, "Chrissy is a blueprint. She stayed loyal, played quiet, took notes, and then let karma do the dirty work." Another said, "She gave that man 20 years, and he gave her excuses. Now she's giving him silence." Iconic. But while the internet was celebrating Chrissy's long overdue revenge, Jim was spiraling. He posted nothing for days. Not a meme, not a quote. Not even a thirst trap in a chain pretending like nothing happened. Just ... nothing. Until one night, without warning, he dropped the most tired, Worn-out celebrity move of all time. The Notes app apology. A black background, white text, blurry screenshot, low effort remorse. We all make mistakes. I'm taking this time to reflect and grow. Love to my family. The internet rolled its collective eyes so hard you could hear it. One comment said, "Bro wrote this using McDonald's Wi-Fi from the backseat of an Uber." Another replied, "Grow, sir. You're 47. You should be fully grown by now." Chrissy didn't respond. His son didn't like it. His followers didn't accept it. And just like that, his weak attempt at redemption collapsed like his credibility. But Jim still wasn't done making a fool of himself. A few days later, he appeared on YouTube for a tell-all interview filmed in some Airbnb kitchen, looking like he hadn't slept since the slap. He sat down, tried to speak from the heart, and said the worst possible thing. People blew this out of proportion. "I love my family. Things got heated. I'm only human." And just like that, he was finished. One viewer commented, "This man out here trying to gaslight the whole internet. Bro, you got beat up by your son for hitting your girl. Sit down." Another posted, "Jim got more excuses than he had hit singles." The interview was ratioed into oblivion. Thumbs down flooded in. His subscriber count dipped like stock in a sinking company. He looked lost, pitiful, and above all done. And, yet, somehow, he kept digging. Jim must have thought he had one more card to play, one last act in this tragic comedy of his own making. So what does he do? He shows up on a hip-hop podcast thinking he's about to win the audience back with some half-baked redemption arc. But instead of reflection or remorse, the man shows up defensive, irritated, and acting like the victim. The host, keeping it respectful, simply asks, "Do you regret how you treated Chrissy all these years?" And boom, Jim detonates. "Man, y'all always bring up the past like I'm the only one who's ever made a mistake. People act like I'm the villain when I'm not even close to the worst out here." And just like that, the podcast went from damage control to public meltdown. His voice cracked, his eyes darted. And you could tell this wasn't a man who had learned anything. This was a man who was cornered, bitter, and grasping at straws. The internet wasted no time. Clips of the interview went viral within hours. One TikTok user captioned it, "Jim Jones fighting for his life and losing on camera." While another wrote, "Bro trying to rewrite history like we didn't watch it in HD for the last 2 decades. It was bad." The man was spiraling in real time. But the most humiliating part wasn't even the failed interviews, the PR disasters, or the memes. No, it was his last-ditch effort to get Chrissy back. Because just when we thought he couldn't possibly dig a deeper hole, he showed up at her doorstep with flowers, gifts, and a handwritten letter. That's right, a whole love letter. Like, this was a 90s R&B video, and he was the misunderstood heartthrob. Newsflash, it wasn't. Chrissy didn't even come to the door. She posted a photo instead, a bouquet of wilted roses tossed right into the trash bin, with a caption so savage it deserves to be framed. "Too little, too late." The internet exploded. Tweets came flying in like darts, aimed straight at Jim's pride. Jim, out here, writing love letters like she didn't waste 20 years waiting for a ring, not the flowers in the trash, this man's whole legacy going out with them. But it wasn't just the fans who responded. Celebrities, influencers, even former cast members from Love and Hip Hop chimed in. One ex-castmate tweeted, "Chrissy, always deserved better. She's finally showing it." And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Chrissy made it official. She had moved on. Sources say she's dating a younger man, a real estate developer with 0 scandals, 0 rap beef, and apparently, an actual adult understanding of commitment. They've been spotted out in Miami, smiling, holding hands, and looking like everything Jim never was: stable, calm, and grown. And Jim vanished. No posts, no interviews, no surprise drops, just silence. And from that silence came more speculation. Rumors started swirling that Jim had left the industry entirely. Some said he was staying with his mother. Others claimed he fled to Atlanta trying to rebuild quietly. One user posted, "Jim went from Dipset to disrespected real quick." While another joked, "He's probably starting a podcast called How to Ruin Everything in 3 Steps." Whatever the truth, one thing was clear: his career, his image, his home life were all in ruins. The man once considered a Harlem icon had become a cautionary tale. And the internet doesn't forget. His name is now associated with downfall more than music. Even Google seemed to get in on the Jim Jones brought up more headlines about the slap than his albums. His Wikipedia page had to be locked from editing because trolls kept changing his occupation to couch surfer and Chrissy's biggest mistake. Meanwhile, Chrissy glowed harder than ever. She launched a brand partnership, did a sit-down interview with a women's empowerment network, and even teased a book deal. When asked if the book would mention Jim, she smirked and said, "He might get a paragraph." One fan commented, "She gave him 20 years and now he gets 20 words." Poetic. It wasn't just revenge, it was a full-blown rebirth. And people ate it up. Her followers doubled. Her influence soared. She became a symbol not just of surviving toxic love but thriving after it. And Jim, he became a meme. A meme with a busted lip, a duffel bag, and no clue what hit him. But let's be clear, this wasn't just about one slap. This was about years of emotional labor, public humiliation, and quiet suffering finally erupting into a moment of reckoning. And that reckoning came in the form of a son who refused to stay silent, a woman who chose herself, and a public that said enough is enough. Jim Jones thought he could skate by forever on charm, nostalgia, and street cred. But charm fades, nostalgia wears thin, and street cred doesn't mean much when your own household turns on you. This was the collapse of an image, the fall of a facade, the kind of downfall that doesn't just bruise the ego, it erases the brand. And now, as the dust settles and the timeline quiets, one question remains. Not what's next for Jim Jones, because, frankly, no one's checking. The real question is, how many more Chrissys out there are sitting in silence, waiting for their moment to choose peace over pain, self-worth over struggle, and freedom over familiar chaos? And how many more Jim Joneses will finally learn that you can't build a kingdom on broken trust? Asterisk asterisk. So now that the truth has been laid out like a reality show finale gone horribly wrong, we have to ask, what do you think? Did Jim Jones get exactly what he deserved? Or did the internet go too far with the dragging? Is this karma finally catching up to him after years of dodging accountability? Or is this just another case of a public figure getting chewed up by the same fame that once fed him? We want to hear what you think, because trust this one has people divided. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Should Chrissy have left sooner? Did his son do what every kid with a disrespected mom dreams of doing? Or are you still rooting for Jim to make a comeback? Either way, make sure you hit that like button if you stayed through this emotional roller coaster. And don't forget to subscribe, because this channel, we don't just spill tea, we serve the entire kettle, piping hot. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next scandal. Because if you think this was wild, wait till you see what's coming next. We've got more exclusive breakdowns, shocking exposes, and messy truths headed your way. Stay tuned, stay loud, stay unapologetic.